Substantial internet outages have struck South Africa, impacting thousands of users and businesses across the country. This is linked reportedly to Microsoft Azure Services. The outage is linked to multiple cable failures connecting South Africa to the west coast of Africa. This has resulted in widespread lack of internet connectivity and difficulties accessing online services. The outage began at around noon, causing disruptions to various industries across the country. Microsoft has not yet provided a timeline for resolving the issue.
People in South Africa could not access any Microsoft online services earlier today. That includes email, Microsoft Teams, anything in Microsoft Office 365, Microsoft Azure. It caused severe disruptions in South Africa, including payment systems that rely on Microsoft's cloud were inoperational as a result of the outage. It's been caused by multiple cable failures in Côte d'Ivoire near Abidjan. And what's curious about this is it's 4 cables that went down at the same time: WAX, Main 1, SAT3, and ACE. We've not received confirmation as I'm speaking here what's caused the outage, but it's extremely unusual. So usually an outage like this is a break in the cable, and with 4 cables going down like this at the same time, it seems unlikely that it was one, say a boat that dropped an anchor or dragged an anchor that took out all 4 cables.
For more on this, we now speak to Jan Vermeulen from MyBroadbrand. He is the editor and he joins us via our telephone line. Jan, thank you so much for your time this evening. Perhaps maybe just tell us about what do you think is the cause for this problem or technical issue we are seeing with Microsoft? I mean, we are being told that it's cable failures. What exactly do you think caused these cable failures?
Yeah, so as things stand, we can only speculate. So it could be that the power feed from Côte d'Ivoire to equipment that's required to run these cables. So it could be repeaters, it could be some other kind of equipment that needs to be powered from the coast. That power feed was interrupted for some reason, so that can be anything. I think we're well familiar with power failures in South Africa, and that could be something, a transformer blew up, something cut the cable, or it could be that, there could have been some geological event that happened. So, it could be some kind of landslide. That's most often what breaks cables off the coast of the Congo, though. And so we can't really rule anything out at this stage until we've received confirmation from the cable companies about what exactly caused these this simultaneous outage on 4 cables. So it could even be some kind of political thing in Côte d'Ivoire. There's everything's on the table at this moment. All we do know is that it's definitely the cables that went down, and that means that Microsoft, it shows how reliant Microsoft is on these international links to provide its cloud services in South Africa. And hopefully that's a lesson learned, so that Microsoft can make its mission critical applications like Azure, like Office 365, more resilient to these kinds of issues.
And would you say that this is the first time Microsoft is experiencing such challenges when it comes to an outage?
Something at this scale, yes. It's not the first time Microsoft's had an outage, but it's certainly the first one that I can remember at this scale. Impacting literally everything for this amount of time. And that is going to require this amount of time to fix. The last update from Microsoft was that it would take them, that they would have it done tonight, that they would fix it overnight and definitely have it working again by 4 p.m. Tomorrow morning. But that's, you're looking 16 hours of outage. That's a very long time for people to not be able to access their Microsoft hosted emails, not to be able to access Teams, which many organizations in South Africa have come to rely on for remote working, for meetings and that sort of thing. Just as an example, I'm just returning from Cape Town now, where literally all the internet people in the country were in one place, as luck would have it for iWeek. And the people who organized the Cape Epic cycle race were in the same hotel, and they could access the emails to do the work that they need to do to try to make sure that the race goes off without a hitch. So all of a sudden, you're stuck without your email, you're stuck without Teams. Now you've got to make another plan.
Yeah, and I was actually coming to that, and especially when it comes to a number of people working from home. There's a lot of remote working, and how wide is the impact when it comes to Microsoft being down? I mean, you're speaking about, some people not being able to access their emails, and some people are working, throughout the world, but their base being in South Africa. What has been the impact when it comes, to a number of businesses and a number of people trying to get their work done?
In a word, severe. South Africa is deeply entrenched in Microsoft's ecosystem. I always joke that we're kind of Planet Microsoft down here, and that dates back to the 1980s. I grew up on MS-DOS. Corporate South Africa adopted DOS and later Windows. And so the South African government is reliant on these applications. So for the better part of today, most of corporate South Africa and most of government could not work, and so the impact is nothing short of severe.
How long can it take to repair these cables? I mean, you are saying that so far it's been 16 hours without accessing a Microsoft. How long can it take for this to be fixed?
Yeah, so Microsoft is making a plan. So it's exploring two options. The one option is fix the cables, which obviously is out of its control. And so Microsoft's exploring a second option that's more in its control, which is to secure an alternative route. So obviously the internet and telecommunications is not down across South Africa. Fortunately, we have so many cables coming into the country now. The Google Equiano cable, which is also on the West Coast, that's still working. And on the East Coast, we still have the Easy cable, and to some extent the CCOM cable. Unfortunately, CCOM is struggling with its route through the Red Sea. After terrorist activity in that area, the Houthi rebels attacked a ship that dropped its anchor, that dragged an anchor over the CCOM and its partner cable in the Red Sea. So, but we have another cable on the East Coast, Easy, that offers another route into and out of the country. And so the Microsoft is exploring alternative ways of getting its Azure cloud back online using these alternative routes. And it has committed to having that fixed before 4 a.m. tomorrow morning.
And how can this be prevented going forward so that we don't find a number of South Africans or people across the world being affected by a major problem like this?
The simple answer is people who run mission-critical applications or provide services to people who offer mission-critical applications. Microsoft is one of them, but it's not the only one. I can think of systems like SAP and so on, need to ensure that they have sufficient redundant equipment and capacity that if a severe fault takes down like the whole West Coast, almost, barring Equiano, you need to have somewhere to fail over to redundant capacity. And South Africa is actually in a prime location, even though we're really far away from Europe, which is sometimes a challenge for internet, for latency and stuff. Because we are at the southern tip of the continent, we benefit from having cables land here that run along both coasts. And so companies who host here and whose applications are for the sub-Saharan region are served out of South Africa have the benefit of all those cables, and they should exploit that benefit to its maximum potential.
Jan, thank you so much for your time and that analysis there.